So, do you ever feel like you're playing a rigged game when it comes to money? Yeah, you're not alone. This is for anyone out there who's been told to just, be happy with an average life. But deep down, you know you're capable of so much more. We're going to break down a 5-stage guide from a self-made multimillionaire on how to build real wealth and finally, escape the system.
And let's just get right to it. The uncomfortable truth is, the system is kind of designed to keep you right where you are. Happy with a normal life, a decent paycheck, maybe one vacation a year if you're lucky. But what happens when you want more? Well, the system tends to shame that ambition, right? It calls it greedy. But hold on a second. Is it really greedy to want freedom? Or is the real greed baked into a system that kind of wants to keep you stuck?
This state is called drifting, and honestly, it's the default setting for so many of us. It's when we just float. You float from job to job, maybe you try one side hustle and then another, always just kind of hoping for that lucky break instead of actually grabbing the wheel and steering your own ship.
So the big question is, how do you break free from that drift? Well, this is the roadmap we're going to follow today. It's a 5-stage journey. We start at drifting, move through obsession, then discovery, then acceleration, and finally, we land at true freedom. This isn't just some vague path. Think of it as your escape plan.
All right, let's dive into stage 1, the average life trap. And I'm going to ask you to be brutally honest with yourself right here. Are you really in control, or are you just kind of along for the ride?
See, the hidden danger in this stage is the illusion of choice. You see all these options, right? Dropshipping, crypto, day trading, it's overwhelming. The sheer number of things you could do can be completely paralyzing. But here's the catch. If you don't actively pick a path, the system will just pick one for you. And trust me, it's almost never the one that leads to real wealth.
And that leads us to the ultimate consequence of drifting. It's simple. If you're not actively building your own dream, you're going to end up as just a cog in someone else's machine. I mean, think about it. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, how can I make you rich today? No way. The only person who is ever going to truly prioritize your dream is you.
So why do so many people stay trapped in this cycle? It's because we've all been sold this lie. You've heard it a million times. Money doesn't make you happy. But let's reframe that for a second. The pursuit of money isn't just about piling up cash. It's about buying back your time. It's about buying your freedom. And the freedom to live life completely on your own terms? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty powerful source of happiness to me.
Okay, so if we agree that this whole thing is really about freedom, how do you actually break free? Well, that brings us right into stage 2, moving. From drifting to obsession. This is the turning point. It's all about making that one single conscious decision to stop being a passenger and finally become the pilot of your own life.
Now, let's be super clear here. Obsession isn't the same as just wanting a lot of different things. A lot of people have what the source material calls arrogant aspirations. You know the type. They want to get rich and run a marathon and learn an instrument and become fluent in another language. But true obsession, the kind that actually builds wealth, demands a singular, laser-like focus. Look, getting rich is hard enough on its own. You're just not going to do it while you're chasing 10 other big goals at the same time.
All right, so once you've got that obsession locked in, you need to channel that energy somewhere. That takes us to stage 3, finding your proven pathway. And here's the really good news. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to come up with the next revolutionary idea.
It really all boils down to a super simple equation. You get paid in proportion to the value you provide. That's it. So if you're not where you want to be financially, there's really only one question that matters. How can I become more valuable?
And the answer is pretty straightforward. You find a high-income skill that's in demand right now. We're talking about things like video editing in this crazy creator economy, or maybe deal negotiating in real estate, or creating short-form content for social media. These are all proven pathways. The key is to find one that you actually connect with and then pour all your energy into becoming the absolute best at it. And hey, you want the shortcut? Of course you do. Find a person who has already achieved what you want, someone who's already at the top of that mountain. Then, just uncover their proven pathway. Learn everything you possibly can from them. It's literally like getting a cheat code for success, a blueprint that lets you skip all their mistakes and just fast-track your own journey.
Okay, so you've got your obsession, you've found your path. Now comes the hard part. This is the part that really separates the winners from the wannabes. Welcome to stage 4, the lonely chapter of acceleration. This is where you put in the work, the real reps. And you have to be okay with a very hard truth. Before you can be great at something, you absolutely have to be willing to suck at it first.
Now, to speed up that learning curve, you need feedback. But the question is, whose feedback are you actually getting? Because look, your family and friends, they mean well, but their feedback is usually useless. Why? Because they love you, they don't want to hurt your feelings, and they probably don't have the expertise anyway. What you need is constructive feedback. Real hard feedback from experts and people who are already ahead of you. They're the ones who can spot what's holding you back.
And this, right here, is exactly why it's called the lonely chapter. It's the late nights, the early mornings. It's that constant grinding cycle of trying something, failing, getting some brutal feedback, and then trying all over again. It's a tough, isolating process for sure. But this is where the magic happens. This is where the real growth is.
And let's break down why it feels so lonely. You start to feel, well, disconnected from your old friends because they just don't share your ambition. At the same time, you're not yet successful enough to connect with the people you look up to. So you're stuck in this weird, uncomfortable middle ground. And honestly, this is the exact spot where most people give up.
But here's the thing. If you can push through that lonely chapter, you will reach stage 5. You'll achieve a level of financial freedom that most people can only dream about. But you're not done. This is where you face one final, crucial choice. A choice that defines your entire future and determines if you're just going to be rich or if you're going to be truly wealthy.
So what's the difference? Well, being rich means you earn a lot of money, and you spend it on flashy cars, designer clothes, big vacations. But being wealthy, that's a whole different mindset. You still earn a lot of money, but you reinvest a huge percentage of it back into your skills, into your businesses, into assets, all to build true, lasting wealth.
Yeah. The source material puts it very bluntly. It says, poor people spend money to impress other poor people. Think about that. The truly wealthy, they're not impressed by your flashy car or your expensive watch. What impresses them is a smart investment, a growing business, a skill that you've honed to absolute perfection. It's a completely different value system.
So, when it comes right down to it, what's the most valuable investment you will ever make? It's not stocks, it's not crypto, it's not even real estate. The single greatest asset you will ever own, the one you have for your entire life, is you. Your skills, your knowledge, they compound over time, just like money in the bank.
And that leaves us with one last, really powerful question you need to ask yourself. Whatever you spend today on meaningless crap, what are you taking away from your future self? Every dollar you spend on something that doesn't move you closer to your goals is a dollar you are literally stealing from the person you want to become. So the real question is, what choice are you going to make today to invest in your future?